When I graduated college at the age of 22, I was making $30,000 per year. And by the age of 25, I had my first $100,000 saved up. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. Now, in this video, we're going to go through a bunch of different things. We're going to talk about how to get to your first 100K. We're going to talk about the math on why it is so difficult to get to your first 100K. We're going to give you some examples on how long it takes to get to your first 100K. And we're going to talk about how your wealth is going to accelerate after you save your first $100,000. Plus, I'm going to talk about what I invested in, the tools that I used, and the secrets to actually generate and accelerate your path to wealth. So if that is stuff that you're into, keep on watching this video. Now, the first question I always get is people talk about, well, what do you mean by your first $100,000? Is that all in one account? No, this does not have to be all in one account. It's $100,000 that you have saved in your bank account and in your investment accounts. And this can be across a number of different investment accounts. Say, for example, you have a Roth IRA, you have a 401k, you have an HSA, and you have a taxable brokerage account. Well, if you have $25,000 in each of those accounts, you have your first 100K saved up. And a lot of people think that if your money is combined all in one account, that it's going to compound faster. And that is not how compound interest works. So understanding this going into it, what I'm talking about here is having $100,000 invested and or in cash in your savings account. Now, Charlie Munger is famous for saying your first $100,000 is a and he goes on to say this: I don't care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't produced with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. This is incredibly powerful. And if you don't know who Charlie Munger is, he is Warren Buffett's business partner and a big reason on why Warren Buffett is so wealthy. And he says this because it is absolutely true. Once you get to the point where you have your first $100,000 saved up, all of a sudden compound interest can start working for you. But why is this the case? Let's break it down. So the reason why we love investing is because compound interest starts working for us, meaning every dollar that we start investing, those dollars start to produce more dollars. And the more dollars we produce, the faster we can achieve financial freedom, because compound interest, you the real MVP. But the issue of getting from zero to your first 100K is the majority of your returns comes from the hard part. The hard part is actually saving the money. It does not come from your investment returns. It actually comes from your savings rate. So it comes down to how much money you can actually throw into a brokerage account so that you can pile that money up, where most people would rather have it, where their money starts to work for them and it's producing more dollars, and that's speeding up and accelerating. And it actually is, but your first $100,000 has the majority of that money coming from your savings rate instead of compound interest. And let me give you an example of exactly why this is. So if you earn 1% annual investment returns, you need to save at least $20,000 per year to reach $100,000 in 5 years. If you earn 12% annual investment returns, you'll still need to save $15,000 per year to reach 100K in 5 years. So you can see here, you really have to force save in order to get to that first 100K. There's no way to get around this. You must save a significant portion of the beginning in order to hit your first 100K. Now, the cool thing is, as time goes on, this flips, meaning that as your money starts to compound and as your money starts to grow, the majority of your money is actually going to come from compound interest instead of your savings rate. So it gets easier as time goes on. This is why I think most young people should actually become frugal in their early years. And this is exactly what I did. I was very frugal in my early years, and now I spend a lot more money than I used to. I eased off the gas a little bit. But you got to understand what frugal actually means, because frugal is not being cheap. It doesn't mean spending no money at all. Frugal is finding out what you actually value and spending your dollars on what you value and cutting out everything else that does not bring you value. Number one, frugal also means that you're focusing on the long-term consequences of your financial decisions. You're avoiding being wasteful, and you're conscious about every single purchasing decision, because when you're young, these dollars truly matter. Every extra dollar that you can save towards your first 100K is incredibly powerful. Now, let me show you a couple of examples on why your first 100K is a grind. So if you invested $5,000 per year, $416 per month, with an 8% rate of return, it would take you 12 years to get to your first $100,000. And in that scenario, your savings rate would make up 59% of your first 100K, and 41% would come from compound interest. Well, what would happen if you invested $10,000 per year? Well, if you invested $10,000 per year, or $833 per month, and got an 8% rate of return, it would take you 7.5 years to get to your first $100,000. And of that $100,000, 73% would make up the sum of your savings rate, and only 27% would be interest. But if you flip that, once you got to your first million with that same exact savings rate, 73% would be from compound interest, and only 20 23% would be from your savings rate. This is the incredible power of allowing your money to start to work for you. And the more your money grows, the smaller the amount that your savings rate has an impact on how much money your account has. Let's do one if you maxed out your Roth IRA. So say, for example, you maxed out your Roth IRA and you did it for 2022 at $6,000 or $116 per week. For 2023, it's actually $6,500. But let's say you did it every year up into 2022. It would take you 10.1 years to hit your first 100K at an 8% rate of return. 57% of that Roth IRA would be your savings rate, and 43% would be the amount that your money actually grew. But after 30 years, if you continue to do this, you would have $1.1 million in that account. And this is the crazy part. Your total contributions would be $180,000, and your total interest, meaning the amount of money that your money made, would be $851,000. This is the amazing power of how much it can flip when you invest that first 100K. So how can you do this? How can you get to your first 100K? I'm going to tell you a bunch of different ways that I did this. So when I graduated college, I made $30,000 per year. And I've quickly realized that at $30,000 per year, I could not build wealth. In fact, I was living paycheck to paycheck at $30,000 per year. So I made a decision at that point in time, and I said, what am I going to do to make a change so that I can build wealth? I am passionate about building wealth. I want to build wealth. What do I need to do? The first thing I did is I started to build up skills so that I could earn more at my job. Now, this is an incredibly powerful thing to do. So I was in the financial field when I started to work. At $30,000 per year, I was a financial analyst. So the first thing I did was I looked at people above me and I said, what skills do they have that I don't, and how can I get to that next level? So the first thing I saw was they knew how to do very complicated things in Excel. So I started to take Excel courses, Excel classes, asking a bunch of questions to my superiors so that I could learn exactly how to create customized reports in Excel for the CEO and the COO of this massive company. Eventually, I started to get raises within this company and started to earn more money. The second thing I did was I started to build out side hustles so that I could earn more income as well. I had a Christmas tree stand where I would sell Christmas trees on the side of the road. I would sell things via Amazon through Amazon FBA. I had a business on eBay. I would build out things online and sell them online. There were so many different side hustles that I tried in those early days, and a lot of them started to make me an additional income as well. So here is lesson number one, is you need to increase your income if you don't have extra dollars to save towards your first 100K. This is incredibly powerful and the most powerful thing that you can do when it comes to building wealth. Number two is I started a budget, and I looked at my budget and said, what are areas that I'm spending money on right now that I really don't care about and I can cut out? Now, I'm not talking about things that are necessities like electricity, trash, your mortgage or rent, and all of these other various things. What I'm talking about here is, where am I spending money on discretionary income that I don't really care about? Maybe you're making random Target runs and you have no idea what you even bought. Maybe you have a bunch of Amazon packages at your door and you really don't care about that stuff. Reducing some of this discretionary spending that you are doing is going to be an incredibly powerful thing to get to your first 100K. I used a budget software called YNAB. It's still my favorite budget software today. I've been using it for over 10 years and is one of the most powerful systems that I found in order to build up generational wealth. So earning more, spending less allows you to grow the gap between your income and your expenses. And the larger you grow that gap between the income and expenses means that more dollars you could put towards your investments. And the more dollars you invest, the faster those dollars can compound over time and your snowball begins to grow. And eventually your snowball is going to be large enough where it hits your first 100K. And once it hits that first 100K, that snowball starts to roll down hill. So look for areas where you can earn more income by building skills at your day job, learning how to negotiate your salary so that you can get promotions, building out your career capital so that you can make more money within your career. Then look for side hustles that you can start that may be able to turn into full-blown businesses that can earn you more income as well, because increasing your income, reducing some of those expenses is the fastest way to get to your first 100K. Now, what did I invest in when I was trying to get to my first 100K? So my favorite way to invest when I was building out my wealth was index funds and ETFs were the number one way to get to my first 100K. I started saving for my first 100K at age 22, making $30,000 per year. And by age 25, I had my first $100,000 saved up. How did I do that? I invested in index funds and ETFs. So with these index funds and ETFs, I got my employer's match first. Then I took the next amount of money. I got it all the way up to the match. Then I invested in my Roth IRA, maxed out my Roth IRA. Then I invested in my 401k. Now, this allowed me to take advantage of the tax tax advantages of these accounts, in addition to the free money of my employer's match, and it allowed me to focus my time on increasing my income so that I can hit that first 100K. And this is one of the most powerful things that you can do as well, especially if you are young. Listen, if you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well. And as always, if you got value out of this video, don't forget to share it with a friend. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you on the next video.